عليكم on the day of Friday. أكثروا فيها الصلاة علي. Send excessive salawat on me on the day of Friday. So let us all engage in sending salawat on Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Zishan, you can join us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I was asked to give a brief introduction about Shaykh Samer. Shaykh Samer al-Nass, he's from Damascus. He studied at the University of Damascus medicine at the College of Medicine, and then he came to the United States and he qualified for, and he specialized in internal medicine. As far as his ilm in sacred knowledge is concerned, he studied under some of the greatest ulama of the Syrian and Arabian Peninsula. He has ijazat in the 10 recitations of the Quran in the Shatibiyya and Durra from Sheikh Muhammad Sukkar rahimahullah, who is one of the most greatest Quran reciters in Damascus, and it was also later on became his father-in-law. He also received ijazah in the 10 recitations of the Quran from Sheikh Ahmad Mustafa, who's an Egyptian Sheikh. He has ijazat in fiqh, aqidah, and other sciences from the previous Mufti of Syria, Sheikh Abu Yusr al-Abdin, who died in the mid-late 20th century, Sheikh Lutfi al-Fayyumi, who also died in Damascus, and Sheikh Adib al-Kallas, rahimahumullah, and he studied hadith and is one of the primary transmitters of hadith in our generation. He studied in Mecca with the great Indonesian scholar Sheikh Yasin al-Fadani, as well as Sheikh Nuruddin al-Atur of Aleppo. He also has ijazat from Sheikh Abdullah Sirajuddin of Aleppo. He currently resides in Damascus, but he travels all over the world, Malaysia, South Africa, Europe, and he comes to America as well, teaching, continuing their tradition of teaching. And he also listens to students in Sheikh Masjid Muhyiddin every single day, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. They line up in lines just to recite to him. And he continues this in Syria despite all the difficulties that we are aware of. He used to also teach at Ma'had al-Fatih, which is one of the great seminaries of the Sharia in Damascus. Inshallah. So we are blessed to have here a great scholar, an inheritor of the Prophet ﷺ, inheritor of the ulama. And hopefully, inshallah, we can give him our attention and our hearts and give him a chance to inspire us, inshallah. So the first session, inshallah, he's going to be talking about the jihad and the struggle of pursuing knowledge. And maybe he'll touch upon some of his insights in his own personal life or what he saw from his mashayikh of the Levant. The second session will just be will be in English. The second session is a riwayah session of the al-Sumbuliyya, which is a collection of the first hadiths of several different hadith collections. So he'll be reading them in Arabic, and inshallah he'll give those who attended a verbal ijazah, Sayyidi? Or is that okay with you? Yeah, he'll give those that listen to the whole session, which should be around 40 minutes, an ijazah in that book, an ijazah of audition, inshallah. Is that all? Okay, inshallah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا ماكثين فيه أبدا وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم إن يقولون إلا كذبا. وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيد المعلمين وسيد العالمين وسيد الأولين وسيد الآخرين وشفيع المذنبين وسيد ولد آدم أجمعين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله الغر الميامين وأصحابه نجوم الدين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. أما بعد، اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وفقهنا إذا علمتنا. اللهم انفعنا وارفعنا بالقرآن العظيم. اللهم اجعله لنا نورا وإماما وهدى ورحمة. Dear brothers, personally, I look at myself, I don't deserve to sit here, okay? Perhaps any one of your people to sit here is much better than having myself, sitting here. Because I look at everyone, has sacrificed many of those temptating, circumstances that we live nowadays, especially for the youth, and make him, come to such an environment. I believe this environment is going to be much higher and better, not in the hereafter. In this life, you are going to have it much better, But what I'm trying to say, most Muslims nowadays, they give the preference, of the materialism, the thing that they experience, much more than any, I hate to say it, as such a theoretical matter. Okay. We as Muslims, we have the best theory ever in the whole world, which is the Holy Quran al-Karim. We as Muslims, we are rich not because we only have a theory. For sure, no one has similar theory, but some people, they may compete, they may have some other theories or whatever. What we are rich at, that our theory has been joined from the beginning till the end with a person called Sayyidina Muhammad ibn Abdullah to practice and show the practicality, of that theory. And when we hold the combination of both of them, we are too rich, we are too luxurious, we are too sophisticated, we are too high. And we should feel it inside ourselves. And we should try to approve ourselves. This is nature, this is human nature. Everyone among you and elsewhere, they want to be recognized, to show their identity. Okay. Some of these people, their intention was only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did take care, of showing their identity. Okay. The others, they may be successful in this life in showing the identity, or to have them recognized, among people, but have no value in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us through His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam that these are the three items that you have, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to send to hellfire or ila Jahannam as at first. Who are they? One of them, the one who collected Quran or the one who memorized Quran, because he did it, not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He did it to be called Qari, or to be praised, or to be recognized by his people, And this is for me, it's quite threatening. If I want to start, after this introduction, I want to start our talk. I'm going to start it by this prophetic statement. What did the Prophet ﷺ said? إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ إِذَا عَمِلَ أَحَدُكُمْ عَمَلًا أَنْ يُتْقِنَهُ. Okay? That's mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves from all of your people. Anyone wants to do anything, even the most trivial one, if he want to prepare breakfast for us, or he want to bring like this, water, bottle of water to us, it should be done excellently. Okay. So here, struggling, I was about to say it's not needed, but it is needed. Why? Because recently, I came through that one of those famous reciters of the Quran, Ibn al-Jazari, give tarjama or give the short text, about their lives, in his book Ghayat al-Nihaya, which is 2 volumes, And it came to my attention recently, this person, he has 3 shuyukh. On one of these 3 shuyukh, he read the 7 qira'at. How many times? I asked some group of people, some they said 1, some they said 2, some they said, I think 6 or 7 or 8, How many times did he read on one of 3 shuyukh that he have, qira'at al-sab'? He read them 90 times, 90. Don't think that I'm exaggerating. If anyone has this book available, go to the name of Abu al-Hasan al-Husari. Okay, this passed away in 5th century, and you are going to find that this person was described, at least by Ibn al-Jazari and by someone else, that he has 3 shuyukh, and on one of his shuyukh, he recited the 7 different style of qira'at 90 times, 90. When I look at myself, can I put myself next to him? No way. Because those people who have ijaza, nowadays, the best amongst them, I'm not speaking about the lousy, the one who took ijaza because he had the mushaf, and read the Quran, not by memory. Or you have some, they may read some portions, I did know about certain habit in some countries, they give him this sheikh in qira'at al-ashara, and he's going to read only the differences, on certain verses, and be given this title. And other, I'm not against anyone, don't misunderstand me. The other one is giving the title Mufti, and the third one is giving this title and that title, It's not a matter of title. For sure, I should be smart, I should be intelligent when I seek such knowledge, but the experience has a role there. One of our shuyukh, he used to say, who is equal to Abu Hanifa in ilm al-hadith? My answer to this, even though Abu Hanifa is a very great person, but those who spend all of their time, speaking about hadith, they are much superior than Abu Hanifa, in ilm al-hadith. Abu Hanifa may be superior than them, in ilm al-fiqh, because he spent most of his time discussing these matters, these masail. You got my point? Here, we have something called experience. I was elsewhere in US in this visit, and I gave uqud rasm al-mufti. One of the students, he said, we became mufti? I said, no, you did not become mufti, It's a matter of exposure. It's a matter of experience. Our Sheikh Abu Isr Abidin, he used to say frequently, I have heard it from him, I don't know how many times, but for sure more than 3 times. Whenever the Hanafi tell you after 40 years, he became faqih, don't believe him. Shaykh Abu Isr was Hanafi, okay? He's not a person speaking against the fiqh al-Hanafi, no. This is just to tell you that you have been dealing with something, it's too honorable. It's going to make you, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. If this match with what the Prophet ﷺ said, about the darajat or the ranks on the hereafter, you are going to find, as the Prophet ﷺ described about the Jannah or the heaven, that you have 100 rank, and between each rank and the other, like between the earth and sky. Okay? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say darajat, he said. Okay? So here, you have very honorable position, but to achieve it, you need a lot of experience. Okay? And you need a lot of exposure. No trick here, okay? Since you are in an environment, I'm not telling you that everyone is that perfect, but generally speaking, they have massive observation in work, at your job. You are going to find a supervisor and supervisor of the supervisor. I cannot ignore, or I cannot say they are not perfect. They are almost perfect, in this matter, Why? Because they became talented, to their work, and they sacrifice, they struggle a lot, Even though there are some fields, specialty, they are specialized in this, which is too easy, to achieve for any technician or anything, or anyone of that regard, Whereas your people, you choose a difficult way. You choose to be Muslim expert. Okay, let me put it in this way. Muslim expert. What is Islam? Islam speak about all aspects of this life and the hereafter, right? Okay. And to be an expert in all of those fields, it's almost impossible. It may happen, but it's almost impossible. That's why you should know your limit. You should know where you stop. Back in our countries, the one who study in the university for 4 years is going to have Sharia license. And he considered himself, eligible to speak that this one is kafir and the other one is wrong and that's what. Who did give you this authority? Do you imagine, physically that 4 years of studying with experience, let's assume this, I know that many of the students, they are too lazy, and they are going to waste a lot of time. Let's assume that they were quite smart, and hard worker. Who did tell you that you are given the authority to speak about these matters? You got my point? Yani here you have very broad subject. You want yourself to be referred at as specialized in it, I know this statement, in medicine, they used to say it, when we used to be in US, before, about medicine, okay, that the internists know nothing about everything. And the specialized one knows everything about nothing. Here in Islam, you should know everything about everything, which is impossible. That's why you have this quotation, they said, العلم لا يعطيك بعضه حتى تعطيه كلك. Okay? يعني this knowledge, is Islamic knowledge, not going to be given to you partially till you give yourself to it completely. Okay? Perhaps because of my experience, I told you about that person who has 90 khatam, but I imagine, I'm sorry, perhaps I'm short, in preparing myself, to this lecture, but I imagine in all aspects of sciences, you are going to have the same thing. Okay? And one of those head, great persons, of sciences, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas. When the Prophet ﷺ passed away, he told one of the young persons, of the Ansar, let's go, since all the companions, they are available, still available, and get the maximum number, of knowledge, of these people. And that person told him, what's wrong with you, Ibn Abbas? Do you think that the people, they will need you? Okay. So Ibn Abbas, from very honorable family, Hashimi, cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, he used to go from one door to another door, among the Ansar. He will not even knock the door. He's going to relax outside. In many occasions, he has very hot sunshine, in Hijaz, or you may have the wind, which is about to take him away, or whatever. After a while, I don't know how long is it, that person may open the door. Oh, how come you are Ibn Abbas here? Why you did not knock the door? You are highly respected, I should respect. No, he said, no, this is the way we should seek knowledge. This is the answer. After this massive collection, besides this, Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, he's not ordinary man, he's honorable man, he hard worker, he had the dua or supplication given to him from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allahumma faqihu fi din wa alimu ta'wil. Okay? Yani here, what I'm trying to tell everyone, try to pile up these factors, try to pile up the blessed way, by making dua yourself or your parents or someone, try to be honorable. Yes. We have this as a main complaint, Nowadays, many of those shuyukh or mufti or others, they are not honorable. They may be from an honorable family, but they are going to give it for a cheap price, of this life, They'll change the fatwa, they'll change the interpretation of tafsir or whatever. Try to be honorable, and on the other hand, you should be hard worker. That story that I mentioned about the person who recited 90 times, tell me, I don't know if it tells everyone. Don't take your people in this time, as a standard. Okay? You may be similar to your people in your time. But your standard should be where? Elsewhere. Why? Because as narrated in Bukhari, the Prophet ﷺ said, and he is the most truthful one, يذهب الصالحون الأول فالأول يبقى حسالا. I have said this, in different occasions, and most people, they don't like this to be heard, but this is the reality. I am Husala, okay? That's why I told you at the beginning, I don't deserve to sit here and tell you, about how the people or the scholars, they used to struggle, and sacrifice, for this matter, okay? And this is what I would like from myself, and this is what I would like from those who seek the Islamic knowledge. I'm not Sheikh to start with, okay? That's why I'm not eligible, to speak about these matters, But I look at your people, as highly respected, and you should upgrade your standard. If anyone look at the people, around him, that this one, he's going to spend, let's say, 3-4 hours, for breakfast, and the other one, no, not prayer, and the third one, doesn't memorize Quran, and the fourth one, had a lot of mistake when he gave fatwa. This is very lousy standard. And when you try to mimic or go according to this, you are going to be much less. Much less than what? Than what has been described by the Prophet as what? Husala. What is husala? I think you should be familiar with this term, Husala, to those who doesn't know, nowadays, alhamdulillah, you go to supermarket, you have some grain, you have some rice, you take it all clean, all refined, and you name it, But in the old days, I remember it, we should bring this thing, and try to clean it from the dirt, contains some dirt there, And this dirt, not plenty, they are going to fill small, very small plate or whatever, and they are called what? Husala. Okay? And I am the dirt, that has been left, from the humankind. Okay? And I would like for all of your people, whenever you want to give a standard, that you are going to mimic, don't look to the people in your time. Look in the previous people, okay? We don't have uswa, we don't have model, in our time. The model should be in the companion, in these people, that the Prophet ﷺ praised, okay? Not in our people. We were not praised by the Prophet ﷺ. When we were praised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us two description, When He gave this description, great description for Muhajirin and Ansar, in Surah Al-Hashr, verse number 8 and 9, okay? Verse number 10, speak about those who come after that. What description were given to you? They are scholar? No. Taqwa, muttaqeen? No. Generous? Paying charity? Pray Jum'ah? All of these activities, some of these, our activities nowadays, I should highly respect because they are obligations. Okay, I'm not in authority to criticize any of the obligations. You should, as a Muslim, make them, But when you look at the reality, you are going to find millions and millions of people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have a lot of available people, who had the same practice. And you are not recognized because of this. You are recognized because you are student of knowledge. Okay. So what was the 2 points that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised us at? They are وَالَّذِينَ جَاءُوا مِن بَعْدِهِمْ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا اغْفِرْ لَنَا وَلِإِخْوَانِنَا الَّذِينَ سَبَقُونَا بِالْإِيمَانِ. I think this supports my idea, okay? يعني here سَبَقُونَ بِالْإِيمَانِ, for your people who are student in knowledge. Who are those who come first, in your case? They are the scholars. And this should be your model. And this is what you should match. Okay, when the Prophet ﷺ said that Imam al-Ulama in the hereafter is Sayyidina Mu'adh ibn Jabal, and is going to be roughly like when you throw strongly, a stone, I don't know how much is going to be, perhaps 200 meters, 300 meters, okay? The first step of Sayyidina Mu'adh and the gap between him and the second one is going to be like this, 300 meters. Okay? And you are entitled to cut down the number between you and Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Okay? This is the rank designated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the scholars. Your standard, there, not here. Okay? Whether you are in Quran, you should take that person as a standard, the one I mentioned, whether you are specialized in fiqh, you should take Muhammad bin Hassan Shaybani as a standard of you. They said that when he wrote down the 6 books, Kutub Zahir al-Riwaya, what did he do? He sat in very lousy area, in his house, very dark. Why? To have concentration in his mind. You see, for sure Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I have no doubt, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him with significant fame and significant respect from those who came later, but this is not by a cheap price. He has the sacrifice, to do so. Ibn Abidin, I have heard from Sheikh Abu Lisr Abidin. Firstly, let's speak about Ibn Abidin from the dunya-wise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him, this is luck for Ibn Abidin, may not happen to some of us, He has a partner, invest the money of Ibn Abidin by mudaraba, which means Ibn Abidin of no need, to go to the market, or have some job or work. The second point, I heard all of these points, from our Sheikh, rahimahullah ta'ala, Sheikh Abu Lisr Abidi, who is family member of that great person, Ibn Abidi. He used to have all of these books in Hanafi, in, I don't know how to describe it, as a large table, movable. It's too difficult for him, to move from this book to another book. He has it movable to move that, I don't know if it's like a rail or something, to have it move, and he will bring any book that he is interested in checking, by this way. One of our friends, he said, I want to calculate or write down the names of the book in the first volume of Hashiyat ibn Abdin. And he came, I'm sorry, I don't remember the number, but the number goes by 300 or so. Okay. As I heard from Sheikh Abu Lisr, rahimahullah ta'ala, Ibn Abidin, he forget himself, He doesn't eat. How is fed? Either he has his mother or his wife, come and bring some food, and feed him while he is looking in the books, and checking. Again, I should say, as I said, before, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did give this fame, did make Ibn Abdin that high respected position in Hanafi madhab because of this effort done by him. Okay? I may not taste the same thing, All of your people, that exception. They have something occupy their hearts. Okay? In my view, in all professions, you may have physician, you may have lawyers, you may have this, you may have that. All of them, they have something occupy their heart. I'm going to speak about medicine, and you may have it, When I used to have my training, in certain cities, here in the US, in that particular city, you have a lot of practitioners, famous doctors, rich, have significance in their societies, but they may take us, the people of the hospital may take us few times, to the University of Michigan, okay, which was close to my city there. There you find people, they are doctors, They are not rich. They are not famous. But these people, at least when I look at them, they are completely occupied, with this profession that they have. I imagine, this is my imagination, when they go back home, they are going to have dream, about what happened to them, in the hospital. Really, I was impressed with them. And I felt, I don't know how accurate am I, I felt that they are not equal to those practitioners that I see, in my city. Okay? Then, I try to compare this, to Islamic sciences. Okay? You have pioneers, in hadith. You have Imam Bukhari, you have Imam Nasa'i, you have Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, you have pioneers, in fiqh, you have Imam Abu Hanifa, you have Imam Malik, you name it, okay. You have pioneers, in Arabic language, you have Sibawayh, you have this, you have that, okay. You have pioneer, in the reciting the Quran, you have those Qurra Sab'a and the others, My philosophy now at looking at all of these factors, I think not your people, but if I'm in another setting, everyone is worker, is a breadwinner, and he worked for some. My view is going to be that majority of these workers, let's say pharmacists, physicians, lawyers, or this or that, just to earn money. And they are going to put everything similar to the other. Those pioneers or those skillful people, they are quite few in medical field, in pharmaceutical field, and you name in law field, okay? And these people, they are the real people, who work hard, for this matter. You want me to give you are a student of knowledge, I'm going to give you examples, about it. In Fiqh Hanafi, they said that there's something called istihsan, right? What's the meaning of istihsan? Can anyone give me the definition of istihsan? No one? Okay. As I said, here you have qiyas. Everyone is going to have this according to what he used. Abu Hanifa is going to say, stop. This case, I feel it different. I'm going to give it different rule. Okay. Another example. Hadith al-Mu'allal in Mustalah, in the terminology. What's the meaning of Hadith Mu'allal? They defined it, that apparently it sounds authentic or sound, but there is a what? Hidden problem or hidden illness there. Okay? What do they mean by this, Out of the experience given to these people, like Bukhari, when he had this massive exposure, even though this hadith may look fine, and nothing wrong with this chain, but he has something inside himself telling him that this is not right. There is something wrong. And that's why in the same definition or next to it, they may tell you that sometimes the scholar is incapable of telling you what's wrong. This practice is not available here. I'm going to give example, about some medical problem. This practice is not available here because we have poor people back in Syria. When they are sick, they may not go to the physician. They go to the pharmacy, and the pharmacist is going to give them. And if they complain of vomiting, something to stop vomiting. Complain of fever, something to stop fever. And the pharmacist, this is not his specialty, so that's why he's going to give the same medication for everyone. In my assumption, if these people, they went to a physician, he's going to give the same medication, then something ring a bell, in him, This person is different, This patient is different. I feel him different. Even though he has vomiting, and fever, but I feel he's different. And in many occasions, he's going to be right, even though he did not have the exact explanation why is he different. From where did he get it? From experience. So, I'm sorry, perhaps I did not explain to your people, much, about this point. But now, all of your people, you have significant opportunity. Most of your people, they have free time. Okay? Most of your people, they have the facility here. I think you have a library. Most of your people, they are going to discuss some issues with each other, Don't feel for 1 second that this is going to last forever. After graduation, from this institute, you are going to find yourself completely different. Different in all of these settings that I mentioned. And what is more different, more problematic than all of these matters that I said, you became Sheikh. And whenever anyone becomes Sheikh, it's shame on him, to go back and check in the book. This is a wrong statement, okay? But many people, they look at it as such. This is, I have told, we have famous Sheikh, teacher of Quran back in Syria called Sheikh Abdul Wahab ibn Suzayd. They told him, Sheikh so-and-so wants to come and recite Fatiha on you. He said, he will not come. Are you a prophet or you have revelation? How come did you know that he will not come? He said, as long as you say he is Sheikh, he's not coming. If I want to put it in practice, okay, nowadays, any one of your people have a mistake, no shame. You are here to learn. Okay? No problem if you have mistake. Okay? Because you are students, still a student. When you became a sheikh, again you are humankind. You may have some mistakes. But be careful. Don't be stubborn, or insist that this is the right thing. Okay? I'm sorry to tell you, I'm going to go back to the same reference. You have Tabaqat al-Qurra written by Ibn al-Jazari. He mentioned about Sheikh in Quran. He used to teach people, for how many years? 70 years, 70. And one of the person was reciting on him Qira'at al-Susi or Riwayat al-Susi. Any among your people who is familiar with the Riwayat al-Susi, it has a lot of idgham, okay? And there is certain rule for idgham in Riwayat al-Susi. And there are some exceptions, okay? these rules is not absolute. They have exceptions. And one of those exceptional areas was recited well, by that student. And the Sheikh told him, no, make idgham here. He said, Sayyidi, there's no idgham here. He said, no, I insist you should make idgham here. And he kept insisting on it. I don't know, but my imagination, such a person, he may by this action, he destroyed the 70 years before. Why? Because in 70 years, he used to work for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as one of his people, teaching Quran or servant of the Quran. But when it comes, to prove himself, he denied the real, truthful fact and established from his side, so and so side, something, and he defended himself. I'm sorry, this is my thought. I may be really bad, but I think this, when I look at such a person, as if it's going to destroy everything. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ told us when he said about these three persons that they are going to be sent to hellfire or to nar or Jahannam, at the beginning. So, you should have massive exposure. You shouldn't be lazy. You should have himma. What's the himma? Himma, it comes, this like something driving you. As I said, few minutes ago, everyone, including myself, we are going to find something occupy our hearts. Okay? When this is occupied, this is going to drive you to do this. I remember that Sheikh Muhammad Sukkar, he told us, about one of the shuyukh, not his sheikh, I know that particular sheikh, I know his name. You may not be familiar with him. He was quite sick. And there is a meeting, in the house of Sheikh Muhammad Sukkar to recite Quran, which is not his field. But he used to attend, he used to attend such meetings. And everyone expected that he's not coming, because he was quite sick. And to the surprise of everyone, he did come. And he said, was his comment, he said, we get cured when we attended such majalis. Okay. Love, I cannot give you love. But you should love your work. If you don't love your work, you are in a problem. Okay? Sayyidina al-Hasan al-Basri, he did say about those who give preference, love dunya much more than ilm al-shar'i. لأن آكل الدنيا بالدف المزمار أحب إلي من آكلها بديني. That's mean, if I want to feed my family, by musical, instruments, it's much preferred to me than to feed my family, by this sacred knowledge, that given to me. Okay? I'm sorry to tell you, anyone feel otherwise? This is not your place. Go and find another place. Okay? That you have a plenty of places, for dunya. You should love your work. You should firstly love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should love the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You should have a model, in the Messenger. How is Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to deliver the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He sacrificed his fame. He used to be called as-Sadiq al-Amin. They called him crazy, black magician, kahin, and you name it, of these names. He sacrificed a lot of his money. He sacrificed his house. He sacrificed some of his family. See, myself, after more than 1400 years, I feel pain in myself, that Sayyidah Zainab, the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, want to migrate from Mecca to Medina, and some of non-believer frightened her, and she had vaginal bleeding till the death. I hate myself when I hear this story. Sayyidah Zainab is going to die eventually. But the point here that the Prophet ﷺ sacrificed one of his daughters, to convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we practice otherwise, we don't belong to the Prophet ﷺ. If we belong to the Prophet ﷺ, it's haram on any of us, because we have been given everything, easily on a silver or golden, plate. You have been given the Holy Quran. You have been given the prophetic tradition. You have been given the Islamic knowledge. And on the top of it, what do you have? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling everyone, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. Today I have been perfected, your religion. I completed my favor on you, and I'm pleased with Islam as your religion. You have a testimony or statement come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the top of all of these matters that you got easy, I'm going to hate myself if I waste that sacrifice done by the Prophet ﷺ. If I'm going to be shown. And you are here in much more critical position. Why? Because the student of knowledge back in Syria, they are not going to tell people about Islam or about Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whereas here, you are among a majority who are not Muslim. How they are going to know Islam? By looking at you. How they are going to know Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? By looking at you. And now, you don't represent yourself. You are not so and so. You are representing Islam. You are representing Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this double many times, your responsibility. Here, it's not a matter of knowledge. It became a matter of conveying the message that the Prophet ﷺ sacrificed a lot to know about it. And as I said, I'm going to repeat myself. I'm going to hate myself, when I'm in that particular position, And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man ahya sunnati inda fasadi ummati, falahu ajru mi'ati shaheed." I'm sorry to tell you, our speakers, they are not that good. Our muftis, they are not that good. Our reciters of Quran, they are not good. This ijazat of Quran is not that good. Those ijazat of hadith, just for barakah, given, okay? Don't fool yourself, Don't consider. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, بَلِ الْإِنسَانُ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ بَصِيرًا وَلَوْ أَلْقَى مَعَاذِيرًا. Okay? Work hard. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be sincere. Love your work. Then, after all of those difficulties, I'm going to be sorrow with you. Some of you, they are going to be successful. The other, they will not be as such. You should admit, you should confess that even though I have done this, or you may not tell, people about it, but I'm sorry, I was not successful. Today, I'm sorry, perhaps I have dark eyeglasses, to look at people, I'm sorry about this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala correct me. I see some of these people, son of a famous scholar, one of our Sheikh. He comes to me, read fiqh with me. I'm going to be sorrow with you. I feel ashamed, telling him, listen, my friend, fiqh is not your business. Step back. But he thinks that fiqh is his business. Why? Because he inherited it from his father. Okay? Be careful about this point. Okay? Some of your people, they may ask me, what specialty I should go, hadith or fiqh? I'll tell him, Look at your heart. See what you love more, and you go by it. If you do not know your heart, either seek the advice of the others, or look at your marks, at the end of the year, and see how you were good, in certain matters, given to you, and you are not that good, in other matters. Okay. So, the statement that I mentioned before, that knowledge, or this sacred knowledge, will not be given to you partially till you give yourself to it, completely. As I understand it, not for everyone. And some of us, they will be successful, the other will not be successful. What the great point, about it? There is a great point about it, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards when He look at your heart and know that you have a pure intention, of it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reward you. Okay? I'm not familiar with time. Shall we stop here, Inshallah, Jazakullah. I'm sorry. I don't have good preparation, So even though I spoke a lot, about being excellent, and perfect, but I'm not perfect.
We'll open the floor to question and answer. I really encourage you guys, we can first start with questions about the topic, and then we can open it up to just general questions. I encourage you guys to ask questions, because the Sheikh really has an amazing ability to answer questions, whether that's specific fiqh or seerah questions or whatnot. This is an amazing opportunity that the Sheikh is here with you guys, so I would take advantage. I remember one scholar, he said, if I were to tell you that Mount Everest is coming to Chicago for a day, how many people would come? And obviously, this whole mosque would be filled because they would just want to come see Mount Everest. And in the world of spirituality, it really is that a mountain has come and He's visiting us. So we should take advantage and really try to ask Him whatever questions we can sincerely and benefit from that, inshallah. Does anybody have any questions? You could just raise your hand and speak out loud, inshallah.
Yes, go ahead.
When you started studying the Sharia, what were you involved in specifically? Were there distractions around you, or what did you focus on specifically?
Our family, they have the hobby of reading. My grandfather was a scholar, and we inherited his library. Okay. So here, I should speak up about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These circumstances, not done by me, not done by anyone, this is the thing given from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When I start reading, in that library, this is what I remember, I focus a lot, on Sirah Nabawi Mutahhara. I became more than 15-year-old, knows all the details, Sometimes against some mashayikh, I'll say, no, this is wrong, not right, I know all details, about Sirah Nabawi Mutahhara, but I was stupid and dumb, I don't know about anything about fiqh, about Quran, about anything else. Okay? So this is my start. If you want to get benefit of my experience, wherever I go, I tell the people, try to study Sirah. Because this is going to give you spiritual and physical support, to your Islamic knowledge. Many speakers or many teachers, they may not feel as such, look at Sirah as only story of a man, but personally, I have complete different view of it, and I look at it attached completely. Yesterday I had a lecture, and I tried to show them the attachment, between the first 10 juz of the Quran and the Sirah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Medina al-Munawwara. And I work hard. I'm going to confess, I am complete failure. I work hard to match the Meccan period of the Prophet ﷺ with the verses in the Quran or chapters in the Quran, but up till now I'm not good. But in Madani, I feel myself that I'm good. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make me better. Okay? So here, for Quran you need seerah, for hadith you need seerah, for fiqh you need seerah, for lugha Arabiya you need seerah, and whatever, So please, 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 anyone among your people, is not interested or not that educated, in seerah, educate yourself in seerah. And this is not difficult subject, okay? It's very honorable, and high subject, but it's not as difficult as fiqh or qira'at or whatever. Yes? For the beginner or for the specialized? For the beginner, yeah, this is my experience. I may be completely wrong, okay? You may have different experience, My experience is going to be limited, not applicable for anyone, I love this book, Nur Yaqeen, done by Muhammad Khudari. Why? Because this person he passed away, I don't know exactly, perhaps roughly 100 years ago or whatever, I felt that this person, when he expressed himself, is going to be much closer to my mind. This is very important point, You are student of knowledge, okay? You should get yourself, used to the old book style of expression. I'm sorry to tell you, I don't trust, the new book. Why? Because most of those writers, or they have PhD or doctorship or whatever, that nowadays, they are not familiar with the way they express themselves, in certain period of time. And this, if I'm in charge, on one of these schools, I'm going to put like subject, or in the syllabus, how to read in the book and how to check in the library. And to be honest with you, I got this, here in US, when I was in the medical program training, the head of that program, what did he say? He said, we are not here to tell you about all the facts, but we would like to see you, whenever you have any problem, to go back and check in the book. If I want to translate it to the student of knowledge, personally, I may be completely wrong. Any student of knowledge doesn't use the books the way they should be used. I'm going to find him quite deficient. Okay? Sheikh Abu Yusr Abidin, even though was described by many people as memorizing the whole hashia, whenever he asks about any of this, he's going to open the book and show you. When I'm asked any question, fiqh or elsewhere, even though, I'm sorry to tell you this, I may pretend that I'm scholar, and tell him about the answer, but right away I'll go by privacy, go back, sneaking, to check it, okay? And this is going to be my advice to everyone. Sneak away, okay? And go and check what you have said. Even if you are 100% sure that this is the case, go back and check it, okay? So what I'm trying to say, for student on knowledge, if you speak about Islam, most of our books in Islam need an experience in the understanding of the old language that the old people they used to do. Okay. Nur al-Yaqeen is good because it's modern language. Yes?
You talked about making your standard not the people of your time, but the people that came, the Sahaba, the Tabi'in, and those people. How do we understand that in the context of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when he said, my ummah is like the rain, we don't know what's the best, the first or the last?
Okay, very good question. The scholars, not me, they have good explanation of it, because in some narrations, of that particular hadith, he specifies, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the time of Sayyidina al-Mahdi and time of Sayyidina Isa ibn Maryam. If any of the audience is going to live or may include myself, to live to that particular time, he may be as good as the companion. If he not, he missed that opportunity, okay? So you have common trend in all aspects of life. You have common trend and you have some exceptions. You have قواعد فقهية. What is the most madhab to have exceptions of these قواعد فقهية? The madhab of istihsan, Hanafi, okay? So here, you may find someone, especially nowadays we have a lot of attacks against Quran, against Islam. You may find a person, criticize some point, or whatever. You should tell him, this doesn't go by the rule, this is exception. This is one of the examples that we have many fishy people, that they may criticize certain point, about Islam. So when I go back to your question, the common trend that the previous are better, you have some exception, okay, that when you reach the time, of Sayyidina al-Mahdi or Sayyidina Isa ibn Maryam. And the Prophet ﷺ specifically mentioned this, about certain events of the latest battles or killed people, that they are going to have a stand in the hereafter. No one does stand there except Shuhada'u Badr. Okay. Midnight, you see, the Islamic timing doesn't fit all the time with the calendar that you have, okay? But for example, when you have sunrise, sunset, they are equal, they are the same. But here, Islamic midnight, you calculate from Maghrib time till Fajr time, and you take the middle of it. About having it makruh, to pray Isha after midnight, some Hanafi, they said that if you are going to join Jama'ah, because highly the expectation of Jama'ah should be before midnight. If you usually, this is the practice of some people, they don't care a lot, about Jama'ah. If it's this the case, it's not makruh for them. But I don't advise anyone, to delay Isha after midnight. You should train yourself to cry. And I've been insisting on crying, for the last few days. You read it in Quran. Many of those verses, you have sujood. What the description given there? That whenever they hear the recitation of the Quran, they are going to cry and make sujood, right? Not all of them, most of them, they are as such. The Prophet ﷺ, what did he say? He said, "Ubku فَإِن لَمْ تَبْكُوا فَتَبَاكَوْا." Okay, not in front of me. Overnight, you wake up, try to pretend crying in front of Allah. If some of your people, they have said, okay, we are going to do this, to show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the eagerness, that we want to cry. Just as a joke, I put in my mind, if that person, one person, of my friends, very tough person, and well-built, he asks me for tariq or zikr, I'm going to tell him, your tariq is to cry once a day. Okay? What's the benefit of crying? This is going to break the heart. It's going to humiliate you. It's going to make you down, which is really needed, to have it in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Other questions? Yes? وإياكم. For the first component of the hadith about wisdom, wisdom to put anything in its place. This is something extra than knowledge, okay? Example of it. When I used to work here in US, you are complied to tell the patient he has cancer. When we go back to Middle East, if you tell someone that he has a cancer, he may die. Okay? And here, even though it's a truthful fact, but it's not put in its place, in the convenient place. Should be put in the convenient place. Okay? If I have this lecture now. If I know about famous Sheikh who was given this, just by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala favor, and he did not struggle, he did not do anything, It's out of wisdom to tell your people, such a story, because I was asked to come here and tell the people about struggling, not about relaxing and being back, okay? Because this is the case. Most of our people not achieve this, without struggling. Okay, so to tell the exception, for such people, is out of wisdom. The second component of hadith of your question, to be honest with you, I did not fully understand it. When you say he was in tribal environment or he was among certain people, what do you mean by this? Okay. Okay. The way I understand it, I may be right or wrong, and this has been mentioned by many scholars, the practice of the Prophet ﷺ, and this mentions some ahadith, you may divide it to two. One related to his religion, to the religion, one related to this dunya. Okay. The scholars in Usul al-Fiqh, they said, both of them, they are sunnah to follow the Prophet ﷺ. But the second one is not as important as the first one. The first one is much more important, which is related to the religion itself. And the Prophet ﷺ, as narrated in Muslim and elsewhere, he said, "Antum a'lamu bi umur dunyakum." The impression I got, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left for us many, not all, many of the matters of this dunya to have it by experience, by experiment, by development, by this or that. And He took care, subhanahu wa ta'ala, of all matters of religion and some matters of dunya by instructing us, do this, don't do that. So, in my life, and I think in all Muslim life, you should have some transmission, or we call it riwayah, or we call it naql, and this has the priority. On the other hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left for you, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did say, "Antum a'lamu bi umuri dunyakum," left for you, your people, a room to have your experience, to have your taste, to have what you prefer in this life. If I want to be more thorough, about your points, about the prophetic tradition, this is the way I look at the prophetic tradition. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as most of all of you people he worked hard to cut down the number of obligations, and prohibited matters. All of you are familiar with Mi'raj, how the Prophet ﷺ cut down the number from 50 to 5, right? This is my impression. The Prophet ﷺ worked hard to cut down many of these matters, I'm not here to give examples, we gave example of prayer during Mi'raj, okay, to cut it down. When it's almost fixed, then the Prophet ﷺ is going to be the most efficient one to practice it and establish it and make it clear for everyone. On the other hand, in Nafila, the Prophet ﷺ was completely opposite. I have many examples. I don't know if the time permits, to give you these examples, but in Nafila, he was completely different. So, what I imagine, if it's in Nafila, which is part of my religion, the Prophet ﷺ was quite flexible, and tried to hide some of these facts, not to be known by the other, because we read in Sahih Muslim that the Prophet ﷺ was asked about his fasting and he got angry. Nafila fasting, and he got angry, okay? So, if this is the case with Nafila, I think for dunya matter, it's going to be much more broader, and you have much more flexibility in this regard. Yes?
Two-part question. What made you, part A is what made you pursue medicine in addition to the knowledge of the deen? And part B question is, that question is that the model that you recommend for the students of sacred knowledge, they also pursue some additional knowledge of the dunya, where you're not dependent on the
Okay, if I fully understand the first, what make me, do medicine, because I did not know the fact that they may hire someone to be teacher in this university or that university as a Muslim scholar, I did not know this, I'm sorry. I did work hard, I did waste some time, I did spend some time. Now I don't feel sorry, because I have fair experience in both aspects. For what was the second component of our question?
Is that something that you recommend in general for students?
Yeah, I remember. I have been asked this question. Should the student of knowledge have other way, of living? As I said, in the first component of her question, if he's hired, by good institute and is not going to compromise or give up, to be honest with you, I'm going to be thorough, okay? Most mosques in US is ran by communities. They have special needs that poor imam, many of these needs, they don't fit the Islamic way, and he's going to give up. I hate to be in such a position. I don't have experience myself, okay? But I hate to be in such a position. I would like to be free, speak freely about any point. I'm not telling you I'm immune, okay? I may be wrong, on many of those talks, but at least I'm not munafiq, I'm not hypocritic. I'm not going to speak about something that I know something else, about. Inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me if I forgot some of these matters. Okay. And this is for me the main point. Any of the student of knowledge, whenever they have life support, not artificial machine or not, they have life support, not related or doesn't influence their decision or their fatwa or their speech, this is very great. The one who is unlucky and doesn't have such thing, I quite encourage him, to go and have something in this dunya, not because of loving of dunya, not to be a millionaire, just to save your decision, to save your fatwa, to save your behavior when you are in one of those settings or one of these environment. Yes.
What tips can you give us to improve our general and
There is a hadith narrated, in Sunan al-Tirmidhi and Mustadrak al-Hakim called Salat Hifz al-Quran. I would encourage everyone to practice it, but what did come to my attention recently, that many sentences, of that particular dua after that salah, they are practical. When you look at them, and you go according to them, they are going to be quite helpful, to memorize Quran. إني أعوذ بك أن أتكلف ما لا يعنيني. You see, many of the students of knowledge and others, they waste their time And that's why they miss حفظ القرآن. Okay? ارحمني بترك المعاصي أبدا ما أبقيتني. Okay? Commit sins, is going to push you away of حفظ القرآن. I forgot the structure of it, but it means to have in my heart what it's more beloved to you. Okay? And this is, for student of knowledge, I see it much more applicable, because student of knowledge, they should be familiar with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislikes. And they should go by those matters. Really, it amazed me a lot, that particular hadith, it's barakah, spiritual. I encourage everyone to practice it, but besides it, study carefully each sentence, mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ, and try to practice it in this life. Shall we answer another question? Or?
Yeah, we can.
تفضل. Make your voice loud little bit. If I told you halal or haram, don't believe me. Why? Nowadays, Muslim, because of significant development, in dunya matters, by someone else, they need an answer for many of these questions, including your question. And in my view, I'm not that experienced person, for such matter, you should collect some of these good students of knowledge, or scholars, not students, scholars, forget yourself, okay? Some scholars, and besides that, you should have, in that particular question, medical expert, you should choose 4, 5, 6 of them, besides 4, 5, 6 of the scholars, and have this discussed, thoroughly, and come to a conclusion. When you have some economical matter, again, you have an expert, in economy, 5 or 6, sit next to 5 or 6 of the scholars. This is the way I would like to see it. That's why I told you, if I told you halal or haram, don't believe me, okay? As a Muslim, we used to have this honor, before, which we missed, During the time of Khulafa al-Rashidin, namely Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman, whenever they have any problem, what they are going to do, they are going to gather all scholars in Medina al-Munawwara, make them sit and discuss it, and come to conclusion. We missed this after that. And we are the one who are affected badly, by it. Okay? When we don't care a lot, about our religion, we are going to find many deficiencies. And some may say, even so I don't believe in this, some may say, your Islam is not eligible for all time and places. Okay. Our original Islam is eligible, but our practice is not eligible.
Jazakullahu Khairun. Ahsan al-jaza. Barakallahu fi ilmikum wa amalikum, inshallah. So alhamdulillah, we thank Sheikh for his beautiful talk. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to make amal and struggle for this acquiring knowledge, inshallah. Now we're going to move into the second session. And in the interim break, I would request the Hifz students, inshallah, all the Hifz students stand up in your places. These are the students of Tahfiz, mashallah.
MashaAllah,
So-
barakallahu fihim, zadahum khairan wa fadlan wa barakatan.
Inshallah, Sheikh is
Wa
making
ana
dua for you.
tabaraku bihim.
Inshallah, now you can proceed, inshallah, to the hall on the right hand side, on your right hand side, with your teacher, inshallah. You can continue, inshallah, half an hour till your 4 o'clock break, that the Hifz class can proceed. Inshallah. The part-time Hifz class, full-time Hifz class can proceed, inshallah. Then we have, inshallah, the first year students. First year students can stand up. Inshallah. On the girls' side, we have also students. They are listening, women as well, and women in first year. So all the first year students, you have joined us, and the summer Tamheed and Tanweer students. Inshallah, these are first year students, inshallah. They can proceed downstairs, inshallah. Maulana Salman Sahab will be with you. And inshallah, you will have your last lesson of Sarf, inshallah. You will be together in one class, A and B. And inshallah, we are just setting up the PDF on the screen for the Awaid Sumbuliya. Inshallah, we will begin in maybe a few minutes. We can give a few minutes interim break if you need to drink some water, stand up, stretch, and we'll be starting very shortly. It's 3:35 now. Inshallah, we will start exactly at 3:40. How about in
Okay.
5 minutes?
Copy,
Please
you
be
know,
back,
I don't
inshallah.
have my copy. I'm sorry. I have it in my laptop, but I did not bring it. This is okay. Yes, should be okay. Okay, inshallah. Inshallah.
Side button. Next we'll switch the page. And you can
Okay. Inshallah. Inshallah.
تريدوا شي سيدي؟
لا والله لا خلاص.
كمان شاي؟
إيه معلش إذا في ما
كل شيء تمام سيدي؟
إن شاء الله.
سيدي أنا أروح مع ال first year students or the second year?
I should go, not you. You are big Sheikh.
بدك تراها أنت ولا تلميذ؟
No, yeah, it's good idea. Not on Tilmiz. You do have more than one?
How many students can read it? Just one, or do you have a couple?
We can ask a couple students to read.
Yeah, I would like to have this just to know the quality and the level of the student who are reading it. I would like to read it myself, but I want to see the quality of the others. No, don't tell me about the quality. I want to listen to them, reading. Assalamu alaikum. What do you say? Make dua for me.
Saim, Yasir, and Ibrahim, Suleiman Hamid, please come forward to read the Ibarah, inshallah. Students of the 6th year. You can take a seat here. Who else is there? It's Kamran, I didn't see him, he's not here. Huh? You know Sana means, right? You guys know that? You guys started that, right? If you see Ana, it's Qala.